Hey, what is up, people? It is your boy Gianni. In today's video, we are going to be giving my final review on Pokemon ZA or Pokemon Legends ZA. What do I overall think about this game and my opinions on it, and a rating score at the end of overall. Before we start this video, I want to mention that this video is sponsored by MMOXP. Make sure to use the code JohnnyCanal to get a 6% discount off of your purchase on any Pokemon or item. If you want to go ahead and use my code. Also, the link is in the description to go to their website. Alright, without further ado, let's start the video and start with the first thing I'm going to be talking about in the review. We're going to be talking about the story and what I think about the story in Pokemon Legends ZA. I'll try to be spoiler free, but warning, if I do accidentally mention something that has to do with the story, I'm sorry. So, overall, ranking the story of this game, I feel like there are some changes that we have never seen in previous Pokemon games, which in terms that certain stuff did get serious at one point in the game, which personally I haven't really seen that much in Pokemon in terms of main characters or stuff like that. So that's one unique thing about the story that changed a little bit more mature theme, but other than that, I feel like the story was overall basic. I didn't really like the story in this game. It didn't really capture my attention. A lot of the stuff really wasn't unique or anything, in my opinion. It was kind of like a basic little story that they came up for the game. I think Legends Arceus had a better storyline than this game. So I didn't really dig the storyline, and the characters were not really that memorable. I feel like the rivals are just starting to become pretty not unique at all. For some reason, they just aren't able to make unique rivals, and I feel like this one is one of the games where that's actually shows off a bit. And some of the characters, I don't know, some of the characters weren't really that top in terms of popular, and there are some that might be popular, but it also feels like they kind of recycled characters from other games that are very similar, and I don't know, I just didn't find it too unique. So overall, the story and characters, in my opinion, aren't really that good, except for the ones that are returning from previous Pokemon games. But other than that, I didn't really see much of a difference in terms of characters in this game. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. So overall, the story is kind of meh for me. I don't think this is one of the best stories in a Pokemon game. I think the previous game, Scarlet and Violet, had a better story and more unique stuff, even though it came towards the end. And this one just didn't really awe me. So maybe it changes in the future with the DLC. Maybe the DLC changes the story a bit and makes it more interesting. But overall, I didn't like it. Don't get me wrong, if you're a person that likes lore, there is tons of lore here, but I don't feel like it was like very exciting lore in the Pokemon world. It's just references and stuff to other games and stuff. So there you have it. That's pretty much it. But it's still nice to see that kind of stuff. So it has a decent amount of lore. All right, the next thing we're going to be talking about is the gameplay. What did I overall think about the gameplay in this game? I kind of like it. It introduces some new things that I do enjoy, like when you can go ahead and now try to capture a random wild Pokemon while you deplete its health completely, and then you can just throw a Pokeball. I don't think you could do that previously, but in this game you can, and I think that's actually a pretty nice feature. Or you can just put their health down to red, like traditional capturing, which is also good, and you could throw a Pokeball at it. So yeah, that's pretty decent. I'm not gonna say that's bad, but it's still pretty decent. So the gameplay capturing mechanics, I absolutely love it, and it does take inspiration from Legends Arceus, and I feel like it's improved a lot. Now the gameplay does not feel traditional in terms of battles or confrontation with other trainers or random wild Pokemon. It just doesn't feel right. I feel like it's just kind of basic. If you ever played JRPGs, this is probably the most basic JRPG type of experience gameplay that you're gonna do. The timings is just it doesn't really feel like an advanced system of anything, and I just feel like you could just basically spam moves and they'll still hit or whatever. And I know a lot of people are gonna feel a little bit different about that, but personally, I don't think it was too unique. So there's that. It definitely had its moments. I think it did improve in certain areas, like where the trainer gets attacked and you can faint, because there are certain Pokemon here that are pretty much a pain in the ass and are going to continue attacking your main character, and you're gonna have to figure out how to dodge it. So it does make it a little bit more inclusive for the trainer to faint while you're doing the rogue mega battles. So there's that. It added a little bit of a challenge, but I wouldn't say it's too much of a challenge. In terms of difficulty, I wouldn't say there is a lot of difficulty in this game. There is one boss battle where it is kind of difficult because you have to go through three waves, but I'm not going to spoil what boss it was. And that's probably the hardest fight in the game, in my opinion. But if you have the type weaknesses, you'll probably take care of it easily. The only thing is that it was a pretty good boss battle. Um, and I think that was probably the hardest one. But other than that, the other ones seemed pretty basic to me, and they didn't really feel like they were very difficult. So in terms of the battles, I wouldn't say they were overall unique, changing. Definitely different from the traditional Pokemon, but I wouldn't say it was like overall a good experience completely, in my opinion. I feel like it still needs time to be expanded more in terms of the gameplay. Um, so I just feel it's basic. It's basic JRPG elements. It's nothing too complicated. Obviously, there's still type weaknesses if you don't learn them. But come on, every Pokemon fan at this point has already learned the type weaknesses. But the point is that I'm making out is that even if your Pokemon is high level, you'll still be fine. The difficulty is too easy, so it kind of changes the experience because the difficulty is easy in this game. Trainers don't even feel that hard to battle anymore, except for a certain few. But you get the point. I still don't think the difficulty in these games is anywhere near hard at all. So that's my opinion of the gameplay. There is one more thing that I did like about the gameplay that is a little bit different was ranked battles. So if you guys play ranked battles against four people, you can have a little bit of fun on there, believe it or not. So I guess there's that. It was very enjoyable when you had to battle different people, like four different Pokemon at the same time on multiplayer. So that was a little bit enjoyable. I will say that was probably the most enjoyable thing that I liked about the gameplay. However, I won't say that it's always going to keep me on every single day. Like, I wouldn't really be excited all the time to play it. Like, once you're done with it, you're done with it. I don't think it's the most advanced or craziest system either. It was just a little bit more fun, and I wish it did expand a little more. But other than that, it still feels basic as well. But that was a major plus for this game, the ranked battles, because I enjoyed them, and I know a lot of people are gonna enjoy them, and you can't deny that it was pretty enjoyable to play ranked battle. So that is one thing that I really did enjoy. All right, moving on, we're gonna move on to the graphics and art design or everything in general. So this one might be a little bit controversial, but I feel like this is the part that kind of throws me off a lot about the game, the design and the graphics. Overall, in general, I feel like this is one of the weakest designs in a Pokemon game. Like, I like the Lumioi City, but if you played X and Y in the past, you know that going through the towns and everything just felt like a better, memorable experience. And just being stuck to one city just doesn't feel right. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy that the city is big and there are Pokemon around there that you can capture in these little wild zones, but it's just not overall a really good experience, in my opinion. There's nothing to do. Like, the world is lifeless in this game, and I felt like in Legends Arceus it was a little bit more lifelike. It had better stuff. Well, in here, not really. There's not much you can do other than battle on the battle zone or capture Pokemon in the wild zone. And it just doesn't feel like it's like a big city to explore. Don't get me wrong, you can explore certain areas, but it just doesn't feel that unique. This time around, it just feels different. It feels, I don't know. It feels like every part of the city looks about the same, except for a few areas. So I didn't like it. I don't think it's the best design. I also didn't like the graphics in certain areas in the city. They just look like they use the same textures on the buildings, and they didn't really add too much inspiration, or they didn't add too much designs to them. Just made them basic. Like, let's just make these basic buildings, and then there might be some that are a little bit designed, but overall the world just looks bland, basically lifeless, in my opinion. And what's crazy is the graphics is a mix between both. Sometimes you get these scenes like in the sewers If you played throughout the sewers, you get these nice textures, or these certain areas where you get these nice graphics and textures, but it's only in certain points in the game that you're not really even going to be revisiting. Also, the sewers. Let's talk about the sewers. They did make the sewers pretty decent, but honestly, they're just simple sewers. Like, it doesn't even feel like you're exploring like a decent thing. There's not so much exploration to do there. It just looks basic to me, like lifeless again. And I know that's mentioned a lot, but it just looks lifeless. Don't get me wrong, these Pokemon games, part of the reason could be because this game was on the Switch 1, which I will say that previous generation consoles definitely hold games back. And we've seen it happen with the PlayStation 5 and the PS4, or the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X. There are just certain games that definitely hold back the graphics. So I'm going to give it a pass for now. I won't complain too much about the graphics because this is a Generation 1 game for the Switch 1 and then Switch 2. So it's between both of the consoles because the game really runs well on the Switch 1, believe it or not. If you played it, it runs at a stable 30 FPS and it just runs stable, and I didn't really have a bad experience on the Switch 1. And I played the Switch 2 version, which definitely looks better, but it's definitely. I feel like they still have a strong base of people who are playing it on the Switch 1, so it makes sense for them not to make it fully entirely a next gen game. So I would say this is definitely a Switch 1 gen game. And with the Switch 2, just a little bit of bonus features, maybe better FPS, and that's about it. However, for the next generation Pokemon game, they have to definitely step up the whole system, which is rumored that they might actually do that. So the next game, we'll see what happens in the next game, but the next game is definitely going to be a step up from what we currently have. So overall, I think that another thing I like to mention in this review is the music. I don't think the music was very memorable at all in this game. Like, I really don't remember any good soundtracks. I played several Pokemon games and I always had some kind of memorable experience with the soundtracks. Scarlet and Violet had a pretty decent soundtrack. And honestly, to me, this game didn't really have too much memorable music because at this point, I can't even remember the music. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I just feel like this one is one of the weaker in music, so it really wasn't memorable. To be honest, I'm not an audio freak. I don't really care about the music as much in the games as I care much about the gameplay or story. And I don't know, it wasn't memorable for me. I know many people may think differently, but for me, it wasn't memorable. I know some people may have different opinion, but I didn't feel like it was memorable. Overall, I'm going to give my final verdict or my final review score. I'm still going to give it a 6 out of 10. I don't think this is the best Pokemon game or it is revolutionizing Pokemon because it's really not. It's still a good game, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to hate on it. And if you enjoy it, you shouldn't take my opinion or my score differently. If you like the game, good for you. Like, everybody has different opinions, but from my opinions, as a longtime Pokemon fan who's been playing the game since Generation 1, I'm still gonna give it a 6 out of 10 because I feel like that was my experience for this game. Pokemon games have, personally, in my opinion, have changed too much that I think that's my score that I'm going to keep it at. It's not the best Pokemon game in my opinion. More of a traditional player, and a lot of people in the new generation, they might like the game, but it's okay to have your own opinion, but at the end of the day, I still think it's a 6 out of 10. It's not a bad score, and at the moment, if you just bought a Switch 2, you're probably gonna want to play this game because it is one of the Switch 2's main library at the moment of games that you can get. But other than that, that is my final score, a 6 out of 10. It's a solid score. It's not a bad score. And I think if you haven't tried out the game and you enjoy Pokemon, like a Pokemon fan like me, I always like Pokemon, then you should probably go ahead and give it a try too. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to have a nice day and peace out.